Newsfirst at 9. Headlines.
A very good evening to you and welcome to our prime time news at 9 tonight. We are coming to you live from the Newsfirst Centre in Colombo, and these are your headlines tonight. Location of the missing boat with Sri Lankan asylum seekers remain a mystery. Sri Lanka to deport 142 Pakistani nationals for violating visa regulation. UNHCR says deportation would be viewed as a grave breach of the customary international law. Minister of Fisheries expresses his disappointment over the activities that destroy marine in the Inginagal Reservoir. Quintuplets born at the Peruwadeniya Teaching Hospital. Let's now join the main news desk for details of these stories and much more.
Good evening and welcome. You're with Newsfirst, your number one news provider. I'm Shamir Rasuli.
And I'm Inosha Ratnasekara. Let's take a look at your top story for tonight. Australian Prime Minister Tony Abbott has said that it is no secret that the Australian government is turning back boats on high seas. In an interview with an Australian radio station, when questioned about reports that Australia had handed over a boat carrying 153 asylum seekers to Sri Lanka Navy, Abbott noted that turning back boats is one of the policy options that the Australian government reserves the right to use, and added that Sri Lanka is a peaceful society.
The Australian Prime Minister spoke to 3AW radio this morning following international scrutiny of the secrecy observed by the Liberal National Coalition government with regard to reports of a boat carrying 153 Sri Lankan asylum seekers.
We said before the election that one of the policy options that we reserve the right to use where it's safe to do so is turning boats around, and it's no secret that some boats have been turned around. What we're doing is consistent with our international obligations and consistent with safety at sea. Sri Lanka is not everyone's idea of the ideal society, but it is at peace. A horrific civil war has ended, and I believe that there has been a lot of progress when it comes to human rights and the rule of law in Sri Lanka.
Sarah White, immigration correspondent at the Sydney Morning Herald, joined us on our primetime news last evening, and she joins us now with the latest developments.
So today we heard from Tony Abbott for the first time on the boats. He refused to say whether they exist, but he did say that Sri Lanka is a very peaceful country, which kind of made us think that perhaps the Sri Lankan Navy is going to intercept these boats and take the asylum seekers back to Sri Lanka. Confirmed to us at Fairfax Media that they are going to take over the asylum seeker boats, or the boats where the asylum seekers are being held, Australian customs boats. Our Indian correspondent, and he's gone through talking to people, and they've said that yes, there's about 40 refugees missing from a particular camp in Tamil Nadu. The second boat, we now know, left Sri Lanka, and it had 50 people on board, and that's the one that has also been intercepted by the Australian Navy.
Meanwhile, human rights lawyers have been very vocal over this issue. Human rights lawyer Julian Burnside, speaking to the Sydney Morning Herald, said Australia would be breaching its central obligation under the Refugee Convention if the asylum seekers are handed over to the Sri Lanka Navy. An expert in international law, Donald Rothwell, told the Telegraph that a transfer of Tamil asylum seekers to Sri Lanka would be a breach of the United Nations Refugee Convention. According to the UN Refugee Agency, an asylum seeker is someone who says he or she is a refugee but whose claim has not yet been definitively evaluated. Those judged through proper procedures not to be refugees nor to be in the need of any other form of international protection can be sent back to their home countries. Newsfirst secured a statement from the UNHCR's Regional Office for Australia, New Zealand and Papua New Guinea on this matter. The statement notes that the UN Refugee Agency has followed with great concern reports in the media and from the community in relation to the interception at sea of individuals who may be seeking Australia's protection. The UNHCR notes that when boats presumed to be carrying asylum seekers are intercepted, the agency's position is that requests for international protection should be considered within the territory of the intercepting state, consistent with fundamental refugee protection principles. The statement notes that international law prescribes that no individual can be returned involuntarily to a country in which he or she has a well-founded fear of persecution. Where are these asylum seekers now? Although a distress call supposedly made from on board the missing asylum seeker boat claimed that they had embarked from India, the Indian Coast Guard and Marine Police authorities say that such a boat did not originate from Pondicherry. If this is the case, then where is the boat? Australian authorities have maintained silence on the matter, with Immigration Minister Scott Morrison refusing to comment, maintaining that the government does not comment on speculation or reporting regarding water operations. What mysterious fate befell these asylum seekers? Many questions and no answers. We report, you decide.
Now, on a related note, Minister of Mass Media and Information Kehelia Ramukwala commented on the matter at the Cabinet press briefing today.
The information Australian government has not taken any responsibility or denied. So we don't know where we stand until I speak to the Navy commander.
Boats set off from all over the world, not only from Sri Lanka. Only 10% of the boats that leave Sri Lanka reach Australia. We have a responsibility. These people are the people who leave us. If you are telling us to call them back and take responsibility for them, we will consider it.
Controller General of Immigration and Immigration Chulananda Pereira says that steps will be taken to repatriate 142 Pakistani nationals if their refugee status is not verified. Responding to a question posed by Newsfirst, the UN Refugee Agency or UNHCR notes that if the deportation takes place, the agency would view this as a grave breach of its agreement with the government of Sri Lanka. Meanwhile, US-based Human Rights Watch says that the Controller General of Immigration and Immigration should not deport these people until the UN High Commission for Human Rights or Refugees has determined their need for protection. New York-based Human Rights Watch reports that at least 142 Pakistani nationals arrested in Sri Lanka throughout last month are being detained and are scheduled to be deported. Human Rights Watch notes that most of the Pakistani asylum seekers are from the Ahmadiyya minority, while the detainees also include Christians and Shia Muslims. The UNHCR, meanwhile, responding to questions posed by Newsfirst, says that the detainees are being held at the Busa and Mirihana detention centers. The UNHCR adds that it has affirmed the refugee status of 6 of the detainees, while 136 are asylum seekers. According to the UNHCR, a refugee is someone who has been forced to flee his or her country because of persecution, war or violence. It is learned that the 142 Pakistani nationals had arrived in Sri Lanka by obtaining on-arrival visas and had done so on a number of occasions. Newsfirst spoke to the Controller General of Immigration and Immigration, Chulananda Pereira, regarding the matter. He noted that while steps are being taken to repatriate the detainees, those whose refugee status has been confirmed by the UNHCR will be handed over to governments willing to accept them. UNHCR says that the United States and Canada have come forward to assist 6 individuals whose refugee status had been verified. However, when questioned on Sri Lanka's obligations in this regard, the UNHCR noted that while Sri Lanka is not a signatory to the 1951 Convention relating to the status of refugees or its 1967 protocol, the government of Sri Lanka's cooperation with UNHCR is based on an agreement signed between the two parties in 2005 that contains references to the UNHCR Statute, the 1951 Convention and 1967 Protocol. The UN Refugee Agency added that if the deportation takes place, it would also be a breach of the customary international law principle which forbids countries from sending refugees back to places where their life or freedom would be threatened. Meanwhile, here in Colombo, media personnel questioned Minister Kehili Rambukwala regarding the status of the Pakistani refugees.
A number of countries have agreements with each other on such matters. I am not aware if Sri Lanka is a signatory to such an agreement. Hence, I cannot comment. I have to check if we have an agreement with Pakistan. I am unable to say anything now. The Foreign Affairs Ministry will inform me in due course.
Foreigners can easily enter the country today with the on-arrival visa system. Are you all considering to change this?
I think the topic is being discussed at the moment. Some countries have already been excluded from this.
On an earlier occasion, the government suspended on-arrival visa to Pakistani nationals arriving in Sri Lanka.
President Mahinda Rajapaksa visited the sacred city of Katharagama today. President Rajapaksa paid homage to the Kirivehera temple before meeting the chief incumbent of the temple, Venerable Kobavaka Daminda Thero. The president also visited the Katharagama Devalaya and attended a special puja ceremony. The president also visited the Katharagama mosque before engaging in cordial discussions with the people of Katharagama.
It was more than a bundle of joy. It was a handful. A woman gave birth to quintuplets today at the Peradeniya Teaching Hospital. According to the doctors, the 4 boys and 1 girl are doing well.
The expectant mother was admitted to the Peradeniya Teaching Hospital and delivered the quintuplets via a caesarean section. 2 teams of specialist doctors undertook the delivery of the quintuplets.
The expectant mother was admitted to the gynecology ward for over a month. If the number of children usually increase, the doctors prescribe an abortion. She was not willing to do that. She wanted to raise all 5 children.
The quintuplets are only 31 weeks old. Although the quintuplets were admitted to the premature ward due to their early delivery and low weight, their health is in good condition.
The infant's weight is low. 4 of them weigh only a kilogram. However, 1 weighed over a kilogram.
We have been compelled to assist in the breathing of 3 of the babies. Because of the premature nature of their lungs, we have to provide them with special medication. However, their conditions are stable.
ಶಿಕ್ಷಣ ರೋಗಲೇ ದಡಿ ಸರ್ಕಾರಿ ಕೊಟ್ಟೆ ಮಹಾನಗರ ಪ್ರಾಧಿನಿ ಇದನ್ನು ಪಠಿಂಚಿ ಪಂಚಾಯತ್ನಾಯಕತ್ವ
I only had a glimpse. They told me that I will be able to see them when their conditions are more stable. They told me that I will be able to see them if their conditions improve. Their mother is also doing well. I am very happy. This is indeed a gift for us. I want to thank the director and the staff of the Peradeniya Teaching Hospital for everything they did.
Now, 2 separate demonstrations relating to drinking water and others pertaining to matters related to the fishing community were held in 2 areas in the island today.
A protest was staged in the Bataleaya junction in Mahayangana. The protesters charged that the drinking water that their villages receive is polluted. The demonstrators engaged in demonstrations by blocking the Mahayangana Polonnaruwa main road.
It has come to a point where we can't even drink the water because the water which is distributed from the tank has pesticides and it is thus polluted. The Provincial Council has been distributing drinking water that is unfit for consumption. We have been informing the Provincial Council all these years, but no action has been taken to resolve this matter. School children are suffering from stomach aches on a daily basis. That is why we request the relevant authorities to focus their attention on this matter and find a solution.
Thereafter, Minister of Agriculture for the Uva province province Anravidana Gamage arrived at the location.
No matter how much you shout, this problem won't be solved. We have to hold discussions and find a solution to the matter. Decisions were made intelligently and they agreed to it, and they said to come and see what is the matter. And I too agreed to it. What more are you telling us to do? We would like to say that we have already allocated grants from the Provincial Council in order to commence this water project.
Meanwhile, a demonstration was staged in the vicinity of the Hikkadu Fisheries Harbour. They charge that their boats sustained damages due to the sand being collected at the entrance of the harbour.
The sand is being collected because of the breakwater. When sand is being collected, our boats cannot enter the harbour. Now our boats have been damaged because of the impact. We lose thousands of rupees. These people are left helpless. Many ministers have made promises, but we have not benefited from any of the promises made. Around 20 boats have been destroyed, out of which 3 boats have been completely destroyed. 20 lives have been lost due to this.
This is the manner in which the demonstrations were held.
Here with News First. Let me tell you about a story, what's happening elsewhere in the country. An individual broke into 3 shops in the Putlam area last night. CCTV cameras in one of the shops captured the following footage.
2 hardware stores and a grocery store located in the second milepost area along the Putlam-Anuradhapura main road were broken into in this manner. CCTV cameras recorded the manner in which the thief was roaming around one of the hardware stores.
He has not taken any goods. He has just taken the money. He stole around 65,000 rupees.
The light bulb in front was broken. He had stolen about 3,000 rupees from the store. He didn't take any goods. All these things will cease to exist if the menace of drugs is eliminated. We don't know what will happen. We have lodged a complaint with the police.
No suspects have been identified in connection to the break-ins.
Still in local news, Minister of Fisheries and Aquatic Resources Development, Dr. Rajitha Senaratne, has called for an immediate stop to activities which would harm marine life in the Igniagala Reservoir in Ampara. The minister made this statement following a revelation made by Newsfirst.
Yesterday, Action TV revealed the manner in which fishing activities were causing the fish population in the Igniagala Reservoir to dwindle. The expose revealed that these activities were being carried out by a group who have political backing. Action TV also revealed the obstacles faced by fisheries officials when attempting to implement the law using the equipment they possess.
We have a very good setup in place in Igniagala. A fisherman in the area earns about 40,000 rupees a month. They use electronic scales and computers in the management of this system. However, if they build another fisheries harbour, then this will cause problems. This decision has been taken at a time when I was not here. However, I am sure the President will understand this issue when I explain it to him. He has a very good knowledge in this field. If there is a political force behind this, I will be able to speak to them as well to reach a settlement. The Hela Bodhu Savya convened a media briefing today. The organization spoke on the recent events that unfolded in Aludgama and Beruala.
Even though there is a separate ministry known as the Buddha Sasana Ministry, the entire government is bound by the constitution to protect it. However, everyone in the government is not fulfilling their duties. There is a Buddha Sasana fund. However, it doesn't provide any relief. As a result, several young monks have been left astray. We cannot point the finger at one person. Everyone should be held responsible. Everyone knows the situation the Prime Minister is in, his background as well as his powers. Everyone knows who has power in the Parliament and the government. Everyone knows how the power is structured. That is why we say that one party alone should not be held fully responsible for this. The people would not have taken the law into their own hands if the police had taken the proper steps or reacted properly. They wouldn't have done so if the politicians had paid adequate attention to this issue. This is only natural. This is the nature of any development and it is the nature of any organization. If the officials neglect their duties, it is only natural that the people would then take up their powers.
And also the leader of the Navasam Samaj Party, Dr. Vikramabahu Karunaratne, expressed the following views at the media briefing pertaining to the current situation of Aludgama and Beruwala.
They have used 700 army personnel and they have spent a large amount of money to reconstruct damaged buildings. They have used the army for this. It is clear that there was already a plan to utilize the army in order to carry out this project. The Beruwala area is under the army. The army does everything. It is the army that constructs tea shops and transports goods. It is also the army who cleans the garbage. That means a Pradesh Sabha isn't needed. Everything is being done by the army. It is like the current state of Jaffna. Vigneshwaran has said that the army is everywhere and the people cannot do anything.
The government took a policy decision to stop the outright sale of land in the country to foreigners. However, during a media briefing today, it was revealed that a plot of land in Colombo had been sold to a foreign company. Investment Promotion Minister Lakshman Yapabewardena made this revelation at a media briefing that was held at the ministry today.
A journalist raised a question on how a 2-acre plot of land was sold to a Chinese company after a decision was made by the government not to sell land to foreigners.
මේක උනේ එවික් ඉන්ටර්නැෂනල් සමාගම ඔබතුමා කිව්වා වගේ අපෙන් ගෝල්ඩ් ෆේස් එකේ ඉඩම ඉල්ලුවා.
This happened when Navik International requested a plot of land in Golfes. We made a promise based on the Gazette notification brought forward in 2013 that we will not sell a plot of land. By this time, they had already purchased the B and C plot of land in Avegam and Mawata, which are private lands. There was a legal dispute surrounding the A plot of land. We purchased this land after the Gazette came into effect in 2013. They then complained that this was not fair, as they were unable to purchase this land due to legal dispute. And when the land has been cleared, they have to act according to a new gazette. They requested the purchase of this plot of land and I submitted a cabinet paper in this regard. This is how they were able to buy this plot of land.
මේගොල්ලෝ ඉල්ලීමක් කරනවා කලින් තිබුණු ආකාරයට මේ ඉඩම දෙන්න කියලා කැබිනට් මණ්ඩලයක අනුමත කරා මේ අයට පරණ ක්‍රමයටම මේ ඒ කියන කොටස දෙන්න කියලා.
Meanwhile, the journalist raised questions on whether the DR Vijayawardena Mawatha will be converted into a casino zone.
hotel තියෙන. නෑනේ. එහෙම සොන්නේ නැහැ. එහෙම කියනවද අපි කියනවා. ජනතාවතුමා කියලා නෑනේ. මමත් කියන එහෙම සොන්නේ නැහැ කියලා.
Still in local news, taking an interesting turn, the inauguration of the National Kite Festival program in Mathura and a workshop organized in lieu of the National Social Integration Week took place this morning. The event was graced by the Secretary to the Ministry of National Languages and Social Integration, Malkanti Vikramasinghe. The participants were provided with a practical training on kite making. The National Kite Festival program for the Galle district took place this evening as well. Over 150 persons participated in the workshop. The objective of the program is to create national unity.
The National Kite Festival, of course, will take place on the 19th of July. Newsfirst EU reporter Nimesh Tendakon from Polgahavela filed this report today.
What you are seeing here is the Kalupalama Bridge, which is situated close to the Girambe Polgahavela train station. There are many trains plying on this bridge on a daily basis, but it is now in a poor condition. Area residents are requesting officials to take measures to renovate the bridge before an accident takes place.
South Africa recorded a 108-run victory over the Sri Lanka cricket Presidents 11 in a practice match today. Batting first on the pitch in Murtua, the visitors posted 297 runs for the loss of 9 wickets in their 50 overs. Open Hashim Amla top scored with 104 runs, which comprised of 1 6 and 14 boundaries. Chasing 298 runs to win, the SLC Presidents 11 bundled out for 189 runs in 40 overs. Suraj Ramdev top scored with 53 runs, while Dinesh Chandimal scored a half century. Moghal bagged 3 wickets for 29 runs.
Thank you for watching. With that, we wrap up tonight's edition of Prime Time News. As usual, it's a pleasure having you with us. I'm Minoshi Ratnasekaran.
And I'm Shamir Rasuldin. Join us again tomorrow, same time, same place. Till then, take care and good night.